One thing that is so important about following after God is understanding the dynamic between God and ourselves. Let me ask you a question. Who is God to you? Is God someone that you call on every time you need help? Anytime there's a problem, anytime there's an issue, you run to God? Or is God someone that you use to justify your sinful behavior? You know what you're doing is wrong, but God is going to forgive you anyways. Is God someone that you call on when you need that really nice job? It pays really well. It's going to fund my luxurious lifestyle. I want that job. Let me call God. Who exactly is God to you? See, we oftentimes hear all these messages about God and all that God can do for us. God is going to give you that blessing. God is going to forgive that sin. God is going to give you that job, that new home, that marriage, that new car. God is going to supply all of your needs. We hear all these messages about what God can do for us. And we take God off the throne and we put ourselves there in his place. And we treat God as this glorified servant that whenever we have a problem, whenever we have a need, whenever we have a situation, God is going to be there to solve it all. And all we have to do is just ask. There are all these talks and teachings about what God can do for you. But let me ask you another question. What is it that you can do for God? For as it says in Galatians chapter 2, verses 20, I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. The whole purpose for all of this, for the Bible readings, for the Bible study, for the prayers, the worship, the songs you sing, is not to be served by God, but it is to serve for God. For anyone who has overly romanticized God, I want to give you a little taste of reality. God is not your equal. God is not your significant other. God is not your genie. You are not God's favorite, and God is not beneath you. I know it sounds a little harsh, but God is not looking for a next king or queen, for God has chosen one already. Do you know why we call Jesus the spotless lamb, the one who knew no sin, the Messiah? It's because he was appointed by God. The Bible emphasizes just how holy and pure Jesus was, so that no man or woman could sit here and say that I am more worthy than God. If the Bible had stated that Jesus had sinned just one time, then that will open up a door for people to say that God made a mistake. How could God appoint Jesus as king if he committed sin? The reason that we call Jesus the spotless lamb, the King of Kings, the name above all names, is to show that God made no mistake. Ladies and gentlemen, God is not looking for a people to appoint the next king or queen, but God is looking for a people who above all else just want to be in the presence of his appointed king, a people who have a willingness and hunger to serve. David could have easily got frustrated with God and told God, God, I don't want to tend to sheep. I don't want to watch sheep all day. I want to be a soldier like my brothers. I want to fight. I want to be useful. But he didn't. David served. Moses could have easily told God, look, I just escaped from Egypt. I don't want to go back and free your people. I got a wife. I got a family on the way. I'm chilling. I'm good. I'm not going back. But he didn't. Moses served. Noah could have easily told God, look, God, I built up a life for myself here. It hasn't rained in this place. My home, my family, everything I know is here. Don't send a flood. I don't want to go. I know it's not perfect, but it's home. But he didn't say that. Noah served. Matthew, the tax collector, could have easily looked Jesus in his eyes and said, no, there is no money in following after you. There's no real money in being your disciple. As a tax collector, I make good money. It may not be the most popular position in the world, but it pays good. It pays a whole lot better than following you around and listening to you teach. I will not go. I will not be your disciple. See, but Matthew didn't say that. Matthew served. The reason why all those people in the Bible that you read about, the ones who were called to lead, was not because they were special. It was not because they were God's favorite. It was because of their willingness to serve. The gospel was never about God serving you and your needs, but it's about you serving God and the needs of God's people. After the resurrection of Jesus Christ, Jesus goes and he visits his disciples. And in Mark chapter 16, verses 15, Jesus says to them, go into all the world and proclaim the gospel to the whole creation. Jesus could have easily looked at his disciples and said, you know what? I taught you everything. Every parable, every word that my Father has spoken, and I've shown you many things. Forget the lost and the broken, forget the fornicators, forget the idolaters, forget the adulterers, forget the prideful, forget the egotistical, forget the liars, the cheaters, the unbelievers, forget them all. Your work here is done. Come dine in paradise with me. Jesus could have easily said those words to his disciples, but he didn't. He told them to go serve, to spread the gospel. The dynamic between God and man is just as simple as this. In order to receive, we must first give, for it is more blessed to give than it is to receive. You want a clean heart? Give God your heart. You want relationship with God? Give God your time. You want eternity with the Father? Give God your service. Before every blessing, before every deliverance, before every miracle, before it all is to serve. Your purpose is to serve. Take yourself off the throne, take yourself out the center of your universe, and put God first. For God must always have the increase, and you must always have the decrease. Who is serving who today?